Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back once again to the Formula Regional Asian Championship 2022. It is the third round and the second race is not far away. This is, of course, the reboot for the drivers on the grid. The grid is set by the reverse grid positions from the top 10 yesterday as we battle away for positions. The cars will be heading out onto the starting grid very soon indeed. You'll be joining myself, Jake Sanson, and my colleague Ridima Patak as we will take you through the build-up for a fabulous race battle. For the moment, let us bring you the action here at the Dubai Autodrome, a fabulous place to go racing, and what a backdrop for this emotional and exciting race battle in 2022.
Keep your eyes out on Mumbai Falcon.
Some interesting stuff coming up. Look forward to racing to the future.
So as you can see, the cars are making their way out onto the circuit. They will form up in their positions on the starting grid, and this reverse grid race will be very interesting indeed. As we battle away for position on the starting grid, the top 10 drivers from yesterday's race will be reversed. The rest of the grid positions will obviously be based on the race 1 result. That means that we're going to have a very different man in pole position. One of the returnees, Michael Belov, we'll hear from him a little bit later in the race build-up. But for now, one of the other drivers that I was able to catch up with a little bit earlier this morning is the returning race winner from Formula Regional Asia last year, Patrick Pasma. I caught up with him this morning. So one of the drivers returning to Formula Regional Asia in 2022 after a successful end to the year in 2021 is Patrick Pasma. You'll be with the Evans GP team once again. How does it feel to be back?
Yes,
So one of the drivers returning to Formula Regional Asia in 2022 after a successful end to the year in 2021 is Patrick Pasma. You'll be with the Evans GP team once again. How does it feel to be back?
yes, amazing to be back. We did this championship last year, and I really like the championship. So yeah, nice to be back.
And obviously, since last year, you've obviously been doing different things, and it must be a little bit strange to come back in the middle of the season.
Yeah, I mean, this is a good championship to do during the winter. It's, a lot of laps, and yeah, I think that's the main thing.
So you were obviously winning races last year towards the end of the year. You're back in the car in 2022. Has the car changed at all from how you remember it?
I think it's pretty similar to last year. Yeah.
And obviously the tyre regulations have got a little bit tighter now with the 3 sets over the weekend, which again is different to you from last year. Have you been able to transition to that quite well?
Yeah, I think all right. It's my first weekend now, and it's still a little bit learning the tyre thing, but I think it's okay.
One thing that hasn't really changed since last year is you're still battling with Pierre-Louis Chauvet, just like you were last year.
Yeah, I think maybe we have more battles this the rest of the season, so yeah.
Fantastic. Well, the team is obviously trying to grow up the ranks once again. It was a bit of a lackluster start. Now that you're back in, do you feel that the team is heading in the right direction for the end of the year?
Yeah, for sure. I think just the start was a little bit difficult, but I think for sure we go from better here.
Fantastic. Well, hopefully it's another successful weekend for the team and for you. Good luck.
Thank you.
Well, hello and welcome. Well, this is, of course, round 3, race 2, and what can I say about race 1? It had Mumbai Falcons written all over it. It has been a historic day for the Indian motorsports as Mumbai Falcons took on 1, 2 and 3. Now, of course, the Colombian sensation Sebastian Montoya was right on the top of the podium, but it was followed by his teammates, the Ferrari Academy drivers, Dino Bogdanovic and Arthur Leclerc. Of course, Hajar from the second position on the grid made a case for himself, but of course, there was definitely not enough for Hajar to take on the position as there was a 5-second added to his timing because of an infringement. Now, on pole position, we have a Michael Belov from Evans GP, and this is what the man had to say.
Pole position guy is going to be where you're standing. You can't be in this position. The pole position guy is going to go there.
Round 3, race 2. The man at the pole position is Michael Belov. Michael, well, first of all, welcome to Formula Regional Asia, and this has been 2 years since you raced in this paddock. How do you feel about the circuit and how do you feel about Dubai Autodrome?
It's quite a new circuit for me, like I've never been in this place before. The track was interesting and I'm happy to be here. It's off-season championship, so I can get prepared for the European series. Yeah, quite happy about the performance in race 1 to get pole position here. We will do maximum with what we can do, and I think we had a good opportunity to take a win.
That's right. Of course, you're at pole position. So what are your thoughts before the race, though?
Less thoughts, just more doing, and then just doing what I can do. So nothing special.
What do you feel about the competition that you have on the field? The drivers that we have from various teams?
Yeah, that's more, I can say, interesting races compared to Freka, which I did last year, because there is some time management also. Yeah, like the first 3 laps, there's a lot of action here. You need to be really watching in the mirrors, watching in the front happening. Yeah, I think I did a good job in race 1 because I avoid Jack, who stalled. Yeah, I lost some positions, then I gained by the pace. Yeah, that's much more interesting races here than in Europe.
Interesting. So of the drivers that we have on the grid, who do you reckon is quite the competition?
Yeah, I think top 8 drivers are really quite close. So even in the qualifying, yeah, I mean some pace, but if you see the results, are really tough. And I think we just need to fix the quali pace for the next race and start on the top.
I like it. This man's not giving me a name, but well, all the best to you ahead of the race.
Thank you.
Do well. Well, that was Michael Belov. Pole position, watch out for him. No, I can't throw it if they're not prepared. All right, welcome back. Of course, that is the man on pole position. Here we are. It's round 3, race 2. Good morning, and you know, you won't believe it, but it is still morning because the sun is shining bright and how on us right here at the Dubai Autodrome, and that's the thing. With the change in the circuit configuration, it only means that the tires are being worked harder and the temperatures are soaring and much more than the previous weekend. So it is a little tough for the drivers to get that warm and get the best lap timing. Of course, with me, Jack here. Jake, tell me, what is the toughest part of this race? As what you've seen yesterday, as well as what you saw in F4 today, there are accidents and then there are red flag incidents. What's happening?
I think it's a little bit of urgency. We're at the middle point of the season now, so everybody is trying desperately to get that good result to really kickstart their season. In both championships, actually, in Formula Regional Asia and in the F4 UAE this morning, it's been about consistency. So now drivers are getting a bit fed up of getting thirds and fourths and fifths and sixths. They want to go for the victory, so they're willing to take more risks. They're willing to be a little bit more daring behind the wheel, and that's where attrition is going to increase and mistakes are going to be high. So that's why we're starting to see a few of these stop-start incidents. Now, yesterday's Formula Regional race was actually a little bit tame until we got to the end when there was a couple of safety car periods. But it does show that we're going to start to see a few more incidents out there. Drivers are prepared to take a few more gambles, and obviously if you gamble, sometimes you're going to come up with snake eyes.
That's right, and the heat is really getting to me because this man is a real friend of mine, and the man on commentary that you hear every now and then, and I just call you Jack. So, so definitely the heat is getting to all of us and to the drivers. But talking about the man on pole position, we've got Michael Belov. Now the man has not been in this paddock for 2 years. What do you reckon are his chances? He looked pretty confident to me though.
Do you know what the great thing about Michael Belov is? He's actually quite a smooth driver. He's not wild, he's not inconsistent. So if he gets a good start and gets into the first couple of corners in a good position, he can actually lead by example. What's going to be particularly interesting is the couple of drivers that are around him. So Leonardo Fornaroli, he was denied a decent finish yesterday on the podium because he got a 5-second penalty, as did his teammate Isaac Ajar. So the urgency from him now starting from the front row, he's going to be desperate to put that right. He could even be a good one for the victory in this one. And also in the mix there, you have Pierre-Louis Chauvet, who's going to be up towards the front end of the field as well. Now, obviously, there's a little bit of history for him running near the front, so he wants to put on a good show. You've also got Pepe Marti and Paul Aron towards the sharp end of the field as well. Delano Van Toff is going to be starting in 4th place as well. So Delano is obviously looking for a very strong Sunday. 4th position on the grid for this one, and pole for race 3 later. So the Dutchman could actually take centre stage here today.
That's right. Now, talking about the Mumbai Falcons, who of course were on rage yesterday in the very first race of round 3, what do you reckon are the chances in this particular race, because they don't start before Dino?
It's a very good point. You know, I actually spoke to Moyd this morning about it, and I said, well, a 1, 2, 3, what gets better than that? And he said, well, actually now there's more pressure because all we can do now is do it again, and we want to do it again. So from their point of view, you know, this is not the end of the story. This is only the beginning. They just want to keep finding those results. So from Moyd Tungakar and Amit and Amir and Aman and all of these guys in the team, they just want to keep making progress. They want to keep finding these race positions. So in race 2, this is actually going to be very difficult indeed for Mumbai Falcons. If they can come through to the top 5, that will feel like a big achievement. But this may be a race where they just have to consolidate, bank some points and be consistent. The big issue in this race for them is the team's championship. Leonardo Fornaroli is in 2nd, and he can take big points off them and take High-Tech back into the lead today.
That's right. Plenty of permutations and combinations. You're going to hear Jake Sanson on commentary. And of course, he's the man getting you all the live feed right here from the Dubai Autodrome. Ladies and gentlemen, it's race time.
History was indeed made yesterday with the Mumbai Falcons racing team eclipsing the podium with a 1-2-3 finish. A bit of a fairy tale played out yesterday at the Dubai Autodrome with Sébastien Montoya ahead of Arthur Leclerc and Dino Beganovic. And that means that Arthur Leclerc extends his lead in the Drivers' Championship in phenomenal fashion. But now the real work starts here for the team, because obviously from their point of view, this is just the beginning. They really don't have to rest on their laurels at this point. They've just taken the lead in the team's championship once again. But now it's time to really bank some points, especially when you consider that their closest rival in the team's championship, High-Tech GP, is just 5 points behind them. And they've got one of their big hitters this weekend, Leonardo Fornaroli, starting on the front row of the starting grid. It is not home and plain sailing by a long shot yet for the Mumbai Falcons team. Yes, they took the lead of the championship for the teams yesterday by 5 points. Yes, it was a fairy tale. Yes, it was a wonderful result. But they are straight back to business. They are straight back to trying to fight their way forward. And from 8th, 9th and 10th on the grid, this is going to be a very difficult race. There's no two ways about it. Michael Belov will be in pole position for this one. We heard from him earlier in the show. Leonardo Fornaroli from 2nd, Pierre-Louis Chauvet from 3rd, and Delano Van Hoff from 4th position. So, plenty still to do and plenty still to talk about. And it's going to be a bit of an unpredictable one, this race, because there are so many drivers out of position and so many faces that will want to have a strong battle in this one. So we're going to have some exceptional dices and some terrific battles all the way through. Hello to all those of you who are watching wherever you are watching from around the world. If you have just tuned in, you haven't missed a moment of the race action, because we are just a couple of minutes away from being sent around on the formation lap. There is yesterday's race winner, Sébastien Montoya for the Mumbai Falcons, who led home a team 1-2-3 in a fairy tale finish behind the safety car yesterday. There were penalties for Isaac Hajar and Leonardo Fornaroli, who crossed the line in 2nd and 3rd. They were demoted back to 5th and 9th, respectfully. But that does mean it's going to be a tough race for them. Here is the configuration of the layout of the Grand Prix circuit here at Dubai Autodrome. And it is a tough circuit. 5.32 kilometers. That first sector from turn 1 all the way through to turn 9 punishes the tyres. That long back straight gives you plenty of opportunities for slipstreaming, but you go from the fastest point on the course to the slowest part on the course at turn 10. It's where we've seen a lot of the incidents at Dubai Autodrome over the course of the last 2 weeks. Then through to 12 and through to 14, tough corners where the car can be really punished if the apex is not treated with respect. And then that final corner, turn 16, alongside the park-in Radisson Blu. It is a very tough corner to get right. And if you get it even slightly wide, your entire next lap is compromised. So it will be a sensational battle. But let's see how it is going to progress, because there are so many battles for them to achieve, so many difficult incidents coming their way. So now, what is going to be the manner of the race? Is there going to be a first win of the season for the Evans GP team and for Michael Belov from pole position? Or can the Black Arts driver, Pierre-Louis Chauvet, who's lining up right behind him, get in there and take a position? And of course, we're waiting for a second win of the season for High-Tech after Gabriele Mini picked up a win during the first race weekend at Yas Marina. Sadly, he is not competing this weekend, nor is the man who has the most race victories, tied with Sébastien Montoya over the course of the season. That is Hadrian David, the Frenchman, for the 3Y Technology UAE car. He would have loved to go racing this weekend, knowing that there was a genuine chance to battle for the lead of the Drivers' Championship. That is currently held by Arthur Leclerc, who has 91 points. Sébastien Montoya is now 2nd on 78, and Isaac Hajar is 3rd on 71, with Pepe Marti on 66. And then on 64, it is Hadrian David, who is not here. Dino Beganovic is up to 6th on 63. And Gabriele Mini, who is not here, nor is Gabriel Bortoletto, are next up on 55 and 46, with Jack Crawford and Lorenzo Fluscia catching them up. We are about to get underway for race 2 of round 3 of the Formula Regional Asian Championship 2022. It's the reverse grid race where the top 10 drivers are flip reversed, and we are ready to go battling with Michael Belov on pole position alongside the Italian sensation Leonardo Fornaroli. What a great battle awaits us here at the Dubai Autodrome as these drivers and these teams are going to battle away for supremacy. We are definitely in for an exciting show as the safety car goes around to position itself at the back of the grid. The car being driven, of course, as always, by Katalin Wojciu, the safety car driver here at Dubai Autodrome. But now the tension will rise. For Arthur Leclerc, who starts P9, it's game time, and he really is going to have to charge his way through the field. Yes, the fairy tale yesterday was for Mumbai Falcons to finish in a 1-2-3, but the reverse grid nature now means they'll start from 8th, 9th and 10th on the grid with a lot of homework to do. For the drivers in the middle of the gaggle, there's a lot that can happen over the course of this race and a lot of drivers that can take advantage and get on the podium. The first 6 drivers in this grid have yet to, the first 8 drivers in this race grid have yet to win a race so far this season. That is the opportunity that presents us here. The likelihood of us getting a new race winner in this particular encounter could not be higher, as the top 8 drivers on the starting grid have yet to win a race in the Formula Regional Asian Championship 2022. Pole position, the returning Michael Belov, who hasn't been in this paddock for 2 seasons, having had a spell in Formula Regional Europe and also a spell in the FIA F3 Championship on the F1 weekend. He is now here, the Russian, in pole position for the Evans GP team. Alongside him on the grid, Leonardo Fornaroli, who was denied a maiden podium in F4 UAE yesterday with a penalty, but that penalty dropped him to 9th place, which puts him 2nd on the grid for today's race. So, yesterday's loss is today's gain. He has a great chance to take a win. But then so does the man who lines up 3rd position on the grid, Pierre-Louis Chauvet, the man who won the most races in Formula Regional Asia last season, but was cruelly denied the championship by bad luck and fate. So now he is there in 3rd position on the starting grid. 4th on the grid, it is the Dutchman Delano van 't Hoff, who has shown flashes of speed every time he's gone out, but he's had an awful lot of bad luck. Perhaps this is the race where it'll all start to click into position. 5th place on the grid will be the Estonian Paul Aron, who turned 18 on Friday. There was a big party for him on Friday evening after the test session down in the Abu Dhabi Racing by Prema team. And the 18-year-old is going to hope that on his birthday weekend, he can come through with a fabulous race performance. It will be a great achievement for him if he can get the job done. Isaac Hajar, though, the Red Bull young gun, will be starting in 6th position. And it will be absolutely fantastic to see what he can do as he runs in P6. What will he be able to achieve? It is definitely going to be very interesting to figure out what he will be able to attain in this one. He wants to get his first race win, so it's very important that he gets a good start from the get-go. Pepe Marti, the Spanish driver, will line up 7th on the starting grid. For most of this season, he has been the leading rookie in the championship standings, but that was taken away by Sebastian Montoya yesterday, who not only won the Rookie Cup, but obviously the race overall as well. And he is the only rookie driver to have won a race overall that is still here on the grid. The other is, of course, Gabriele Mini, who is no longer racing here this season. 8th on the starting grid, it is the first of the 3 Mumbai Falcons cars who are together on the starting grid. Dino Beganovic, the Swedish talent, Dynamite Dino as he is known, will be starting from 8th position on the grid, the outside of row 4. And then we will have Arthur Leclerc, the championship leader, running in 9th position on the starting grid. And alongside him will be the Colombian Sebastian Montoya, who now joins Adrian David as the most successful driver in terms of race wins in the championship, with 2 wins apiece. Those 2, they are the only 2 drivers to have won more than 1 race over the course of the season, and that puts Sebastian Montoya into 2nd place in the Drivers' Championship. Even behind the drivers in the top 10, there are racers to watch. Lorenzo Flusha is going to be very much a competitive nature driver in this one, in the 3Y Technology UAE car. He has been making up positions like wildfire. He actually overtook 28 cars from his grid positions last week in Dubai, so I have a feeling he he's going to be one to watch again here this weekend. 12th on the grid is the American Jack Crawford, who is still smarting after not getting a great start in yesterday's race and losing his second place on the grid. He fought his way back up to 12th, which is where he'll start for this race. Then in 13th, it will be Patrick Pasma, the man who won 2 races last year. We heard from him earlier in the build-up, and his progress has been sensational. 13th on the grid for this one, and alongside him on the grid will be Nicola Marinangeli, who is hoping for another successful run for the Evans GP team alongside his teammate. In the academy car for Evans GP, it is Levente Revej, the Hungarian, and then the Swiss talent Joshua Dufek, who's going to be starting in the top 6 for race 3 later. So watch out for him. Here we go. Formation lap. Perfect timing if you've just tuned in or if you've just decided to run with us. It's going to be an absolutely fascinating battle, that is for sure. Hope you're enjoying the coverage. Hope you're enjoying the race action this season. It really has been a momentous battle all the way through the year, and it's only going to keep getting better as the weekend progresses. I'm Jake Sanson, and I'll talk you through the action in the Formula Regional Asian Championship. Race 2 of round 3 here this weekend at the Dubai Autodrome. And what a battle it is set to be. Hello to everyone watching, wherever you're watching from around the world. A big shout out to the Stereo Massive out in the United States of America. Of course, to the legion of Mumbai Falcons fans who are tuning in via their YouTube page. And of course, to all of the Formula Regional Asian Championship fans, wherever you're watching around the world, across Europe, across North and South America, Australasia, the Pacific, the Middle East, and of course, all over Asia. It is fabulous to watch. And of course, the great African contingent who of course will be going to be tuning in, watching the progress of Isaac Hajar, who is the Franco-Algerian on the grid. This is a truly international championship, despite the fact it is called Formula Regional Asia. There is interest from all over the globe for this particular race, not only because it is the primary single-seater championship on the planet at this point of the season, but also after what Guanyu Zhou managed to achieve last year, winning the Formula Regional Asian Championship in 2021, and this year he will be on the Formula 1 grid. This is a gateway to superstardom, and every driver on the field will want to take full advantage of that potential. So the cars are going around on their formation lap. We'll talk you through the grid very briefly. Michael Belov in pole position. Leonardo Fornaroli in second. Pierre-Louis Chauvet on the second row alongside Dylan Van Toff for the Pinnacle Motorsport team. Paul Aron for Abu Dhabi Racing by Prema. Isaac Hajar, the Red Bull young gun for the High-Tech team. Pepe Marti and Dino Beganovic on row 4. And rounding out the top 10, it'll be Arthur Leclerc and yesterday's race 1 winner, Sebastian Montoya. That is the reverse grid order from the top 10. They finished in the top 10 yesterday. Their positions are reversed for the grid today, which puts Michael Belov in pole position. 11th on the grid is the Lorenzo Flusha, and then alongside him is Jack Crawford. Patrick Pasma and Nicola Marinangeli, the Evans GP teammates, will be together on row 7. Levente Revej is 15th on the grid. Joshua Dufek of Switzerland is in 16th place. Then Freddie Lubin will be on the grid in 17th position alongside Hamda Al-Kubaisi, the very talented Emirati lady who is in 18th on the grid. Ayato Iwasaki of Japan, who is there in 19th position on the grid. Alongside him will be another of the new boys, Owen Tangevelu, the Frenchman for the High-Tech GP team. Then on row 11, it'll be daughter and father together. Amna Al-Kubaisi will be alongside her father, Khaled Al-Kubaisi, who is the leader in the Masters category and has won 6 of the first 7 races of the season. Oliver Goethe will be 23rd on the grid. David Morales will be 24th. And then it will be Sally Aluch, Thomas Duedi, and the man who had an engine blow yesterday, Francesco Braschi, will go off the back of the grid. At 15 minutes into this race, we will be at exactly the halfway point in this Formula Regional Asian Championship season 2022. And what a battle it's been so far. There have been 6 different race winners. There have been 5 different race winners over the course of the season. And it will be an absolutely exceptional battle. Will we get a 6th different winner in the 8 races so far? Certainly looks that way. In the top 8 positions on the starting grid, none of them have won a race this season. Green flags fly, and when the lights go out, we'll be racing for the second time this weekend. Let's dance to the first corner. And a good start from Michael Belov, but a greater start from Leonardo Fornaroli. He's going to get away well. Pierre-Louis Chauvet's trying to break through the middle. Now Belov is starting to get through the gears in good momentum up to the first corner. Pause, breathe. Dylan Van Toff's going to try and cut in on the inside, and Fornaroli is going to take the lead. Leonardo Fornaroli has hit the front after a brilliant start from the High-Tech driver. The Falcons going together there in with one of the Pinnacles, and they're having to take avoiding action for a slow starting Abu Dhabi Racing by Prema by the look of it, as they tuck their way through. Joshua Dufek going wheel to wheel with Jack Crawford. A great start for the Swiss. He really has. Oh, and a spinner! A spinner in the field. That's one of the Premers. That is Paul Aron. And it looks like one of the Blackheart's cars had to spin to avoid it. So I'm afraid Jack Crawford has had to take avoiding action in the battle with Josh Dufek. But certainly Paul Aron has spun it around and he's now trying to get the car moving in good gusto again. So down the back straight, look at Fornaroli and Belov. They are absolutely at each other's throats already. Chauvet is getting in behind them now as well, and they're going to be wheel to wheel. Decisive in position. Fornaroli wants to keep the lead. Belov wants to put him under pressure. Out through the hairpin. Belov's going to get the switch back. They're going to be battling as they get together on the far side. And this is what I was talking about on the grid with Ridemar. The urgency of these drivers is up the ante. They are really pushing hard now. As up the inside goes Belov. He takes the lead away from Delano Van Toff. Fornaroli is down to third. And it looks like one of the Mumbai Falcons is up there in fourth place. Where did they come from? Goodness me. Up in fourth position. Now, who is that? That's Dino. Dino Beganovic has made a rocket ship of a start. He's up from 8th place to 4th. And now he's going to get the run on Fornaroli. Into 3rd place. What a move! But Fornaroli comes back on the exit, and it looks as though there's been a little bit of a moment for Isaac Hajar in the high-tech. His nose has got a little bit of dust on it, as up the inside, that's one of the Pinnacles trying to stretch his way through on the inside line. And as they come over the start line, somebody's run very wide. It's one of the Red Bull-coloured cars. That's going to be Isaac Hajar, I believe. And he's battling away with Pepe Marti. He's had to lose the ground. So Dino Beganovic is going to try and get him alongside and pass Fornaroli round the outside. Fornaroli's going to break late. Bit of a lock-up from Marti. Watch for Dino as he tries to come back up alongside and get the move on the inside of Fornaroli. Fornaroli has to leave him space as into the pits comes one of the Pinnacle cars. It's Ayato Iwasaki as into 3rd place goes Dino Beganovic. He gets the move. Right, I've just about caught up with myself there, but what a move from Dino Beganovic. He's put the car into 3rd position. What an opening lap from the Swedish driver. That is absolutely magic stuff. And Dino Beganovic goes from 8th on the grid to 3rd. That is absolutely astonishing. Into the pits with problems, though, is Ayato Iwasaki. But up to 2nd has come Delano Van Toff. Watch this Dutchman fly. It's going to be really interesting to see what he can do in this race now. As another car coming into the pits by the look of it, or is that Iwasaki leaving it again? On the inside, that's Montoya going wheel to wheel with Hajar. So Montoya's made a pretty good start as well. Or is that Arthur Leclerc, actually? I think that might be Leclerc having made his way up through a couple of positions. Where's Sebastian Montoya? He's down in 20th position. He's not had a great start at all. I think he had to take avoiding action in the opening couple of corners as we had Paul Aron spinning down to 18th. And Montoya was one of the drivers having to take avoiding action. So let's try and take stock of the situation and the order as it stands. Michael Belov is your leader. Delano Van Toff is in 2nd. 3rd is now Dino Beganovic in front of Leonardo Fornaroli. Then it's Pepe Marti in front of Arthur Leclerc and Isaac Hajar. So here comes Arthur Leclerc, really starting to put pressure on Pepe Marti. Marti trying to shake him off. 7th place is Isaac Hajar. Then it is Lorenzo Flusha. As they come through, 9th position is Patrick Pasma in front of Pierre Chauvet, who's not had a great start at all. 11th place is now Nicola Marinelli in front of Crawford, Revenge and Dufek. A couple of battles coming down the straight as Arthur Leclerc is putting pressure on Pepe Marti. Leclerc going to try and go right round the outside of Pepe Marti. What a move from Arthur Leclerc. Superb in turn 1. That was absolutely brilliant. I don't even think Pepe Marti realised he was going to go the long way round. And now he's going to put pressure on Leonardo Fornaroli in the high-tech. This is the race where Arthur Leclerc is really starting to show his championship-winning credentials. He needs to make good impact on this battle. He needs to stay consistent and strong. And he's ahead of Isaac Hajar. So that is a big amount of progress. Look at the twitch as the car slides into the hairpin. Arthur Leclerc is absolutely on it. He is a man possessed behind the wheel. And he is really starting to make this points tally come into his favour. So, Belov, Van Toff and Beganovic. Fornaroli, oh, there we go. This is going to be Lorenzo Flusha trying to make his bid on Isaac Hajar. And also, that is Leclerc getting his run on Fornaroli. And he's there. Absolutely brilliant. Leclerc picks off 2 cars in 1 lap. And he comes through into 4th position now. Arthur Leclerc making up names and absolutely storming it at the moment. Flusha gets on the inside of Hajar. And that is Chauvet going on the inside of Pasma as well. Brilliant racing, side by side. That is going to be the pinnacle of Pepe Marti going wheel to wheel there with Hajar in behind Leonardo Fornaroli. Hajar trying to hold on to it. Around the outside. Pepe Marti's going to have a good opportunity to switch back in turn 15. Hajar gets a little bit squirrely. There he goes. Pepe Marti on the inside of Isaac Hajar. And watch out for the man behind them, because that is one of the 3 Y cars. That's going to be Lorenzo Flucha, the Spanish driver. Hajar trying to fight back, but Flucha is going to get a better run off the turn at the rate this is going. Pasma, Chauvet, Marinangeli and Crawford all starting to get in the mix now as well, as the top 3 have got well clear of Arthur Leclerc. Here we go again. Marti having to defend from Hajar. And the Franco-Algerian is going to try and go round the long way, but that's well covered. As up the inside, that's Pasma and Chauvet going wheel to wheel. The Evans GP car going almost wheel banging with the Black Arts racing machine. Great to see all of the teams in this field really starting to make a presence in the top 10. It's going to be the halfway point of the season, 15 minutes in, and we are absolutely having a rip-roarer. Yesterday was quite tame in the early phases. Today, it's an absolute firecracker of a race. So the battles are going to continue. As up the inside, that is going to be Pasma having another look at Pierre-Louis Chauvet. This is a bit of deja vu for those 2 drivers. We battled with each other last year. We're going to do it again by the look of it. Excellent stuff. So now, Belov holding off Vanthoff, and then Beganovic. Leclerc has managed to drop Fornaroli, and then Pepe Marti. As up the inside goes Flucha. Flucha makes his bid on Isaac Hajar. Can he shut the door? Yes, he can. So Lorenzo Flucha gets up into 7th place. Good run from the Spanish driver. He's made up 4 places as well. So great racecraft from Lorenzo Flucha. He is definitely the next new Spanish talent on the field. As Jack Crawford goes wheel to wheel with Nicola Marinangeli, and round the outside he gets the place. So good racing from Crawford. He really picks up another big moment there. So now that it's starting to settle out a little bit, let's have a look at the race start, I should say. We'll look back over it once again, because there was a lot to unpick from that start. So let's have a look at it. From the get-go, Belov was a little bit hesitant. Fornaroli was able to go with him. Let's watch what happened to Chauvet. Look, Chauvet is having a good start initially, and then he gets boxed in. Vanthoff is able to get on the back wing of Fornaroli, and watch Chauvet on the far side. It's almost as if he gets completely boxed in. I wonder if he connected with Aron. So we watch the cars as they go through turn 1. And yeah, that's exactly what's happened essentially. So Aron has connected with Chauvet a little bit further round. Chauvet only dropped a few places. Aron has dropped all the way down to 18th. But Sebastian Montoya is on the charge. He has worked his way back up from 20th to 14th. So he's made up 6 places already. So Sebastian Montoya wants to join his colleagues in the top 5. And in a 21-minute race, anything could still happen. So Beganovic is running 3rd. 4th position is Arthur Leclerc. And Montoya is running currently in 14th place. But he is picking them off like raisins at the moment. There's Leclerc in the background. He's managed to drop Fornaroli. But then you've got Marti and Flucha. Now, these two are going to be battling with each other, and they know each other of old, of course, Pepe Marti and Lorenzo Flucha. They will have raced together on the Spanish karting circuits. And here they are in Formula Regional Asia, and they will get to battle again. Up the inside, that is the big lunge from Pepe Marti trying to get past Fornaroli. He knows that Flucha is going to be strong, so he needs to get his overtaking move done fairly rapidly. As we watch the Masters race, Khaled Al-Kubaisi is in the mix there, battling away very well indeed as he runs in position. He's just in behind Salialuch, but there's definitely going to be a strong fight back from him. I think he had to take avoiding action for an incident at the start, which is why he's out of position, but he's going to spend the rest of this race, the next 20 minutes, trying to get that Masters race victory back again. Now, these three are very tight together. They need to be, because it's definitely going to be a tight race battle. Belov, Vanthoff, Beganovic out of the final turn once again, back on the main straight. And Michael Belov is desperately trying to drop Delano Vanthoff with Dino Beganovic in tow. In the background, we've got Fornaroli in all sorts of dire straits because he's got Marti, Flucha and Pierre-Louis Chauvet all over the back of him. So they go through the top 3. Leclerc is on his own. Oh, here we go. Fornaroli's going to have pressure from Marti and Flucha through to turn 1. Fornaroli's got to go long on the brakes. Flucha is going to get boxed in behind Marti, and Pierre-Louis Chauvet may get a chance here. So Marti's going to go the long way round. Fornaroli is trying to make that car as wide as a Cadillac at the moment. desperately trying to keep the car at bay. Behind him, Pepe Marti is all over his gearbox at the moment. So Leonardo Fornaroli just using all of the road and a little bit more as well to keep him into position. And now we've got the two Red Bull cars together. That's Isaac Hajar and Jack Crawford. So Pasma appears to have made the overtaking move there. You can see that in front of Isaac Hajar. Isaac Hajar has really got some problems looking after these tyres. He's just plummeting down the field. And we're not even halfway through the race yet, so things are getting pretty tricky as Dino Beganovic tightens up to Delano Van Toff, and as a result, the Dutchman is chipping away at Belov. Now Marti has got right alongside Fornaroli, and Flucia's trying to defend from Chauvet. The Red Bull young guns are desperately trying to keep on the road. So it's absolutely amazing. It's hard to know who to follow at the moment because the battles are definitely getting intense. Now, Dino Beganovic versus Delano Van Toff. This is an age-old rivalry. They have been battling with each other in the world of FIA karting prior to this, and now they get to meet in Formula Regional Asia once again. Look at Van Toff on the brakes. He's so late on the brakes, and that's where he's able to get closer to Belov. Gives him a little bit of a response, but on the exit, Belov is able to get on the throttle fractions of a second earlier, and that gives him that little bit of momentum back again. Van Toff is so good at getting under the skin of his opponents, though. He forces mistakes from them. He is an absolute tiger on those brakes, and he makes the driver in front wary. That's how he breaks down his opposition. He was so good at this in F4 UAE last year, and he's doing it all again in Formula Regional Asia. He is the kind of driver, a bit like Gilles Villeneuve, who can go from a long way back, slide it up the inside, and somehow get the car stopped on the apex. And if Delano Van Toff can get through and win this race, he's going to be starting from pole position in race 3 anyway, so this could be his breakthrough race weekend. Delano Van Toff could suddenly become a factor in this Formula Regional Asia Championship, and that really would put him in the shop window for some big opportunities in 2022. Dino Beganovic, though, is still hustling him, so he's got to be on the offense and the defense simultaneously. So this is definitely going to be an exciting battle as they continue to come through. So it's looking pretty serene at the moment for Arthur Leclerc. He's there in 4th position. He's not gaining a massive ground on the top 3, but he's not losing ground to the cars behind as Flucia goes wheel to wheel with Fornaroli. Marti's already gone through, and Fornaroli's really struggling on the tyres now. He's just plummeting like a stone. But this is all good news in terms of the consistency. Flucia's now going wheel to wheel with Chauvet as they go into the hairpin. So Michael Belov is just trying to keep this car on the straight and narrow. A bit of a lock-up as Van Toff and Beganovic is still giving him some pressure. They continue round turn 12, up towards 14. Arthur Leclerc is on his own in 4th place. He's dropped the rest of the field. Now, it may not be a podium finish, but in comparison to his main championship opposition, which is, of course, Isaac Hajar at this point in the season, Leclerc is ahead of him, so he doesn't need to panic at this moment. He's 20 points clear of Isaac Hajar and increasing, especially now that Hajar has dropped out of the top 10 behind Jack Crawford. All sorts of problems with the high-tech Grand Prix driver. So it's not a panic for Arthur Leclerc in 4th place at all. He's actually looking the strongest driver in the championship fight there in 4th place on his own. He doesn't have to worry. 4th place will do if he wants to win the championship. Belov is trying to break the toe. He knows that Van Toff and Beganovic are going to be on him like a lead balloon, so he's really got to be pushing hard. Beganovic is going to try on Van Toff through turn 1. Wow, that's going to up the ante. He didn't make the move stick, but Van Toff is now going to be weary because he needs to catch Belov faster than this. Beganovic is getting impatient. Come on, Delano, get your foot down or get out of the way. So it's going to be a very interesting battle between these two as they try and hustle Michael Belov. But Michael Belov, who is only in his 2nd race of the season, is leading from the rest of the field. Van Toff and Beganovic are hustling behind. Leclerc is in 4th. It's a long way back. Look at that, a massive pause before you get to Pepe Marti onto the back straight. Look at the gap that Arthur Leclerc has pulled out on the rest of the field as these top 4 have gone well clear. That's how much time you lose battling for position. The rest of the field have just disappeared in the background. Oh, lock up from Van Toff. Lock up from Van Toff. Now Beganovic will want to pounce on this. So it's up to Delano Van Toff to correct that mistake. We are exactly at the halfway point in this Formula Regional Asian Championship season. 15 minutes in the 8th race of the year. That's it. We have reached the halfway stage of the season. So, battling for position. Beganovic is still putting Delano Van Toff under pressure. And of these 3 drivers, the racing driver who has the highest finishing position of the season is Dino Beganovic. So can he deal with the first two guys in front? Vanthof is starting to get a little bit unpredictable in the brakes. That's not to say he's going to be slow, but he's certainly trying to make a few gains and defend a couple of opportunities out of the apexes. Now, he's struggling to stay with Belov. If Beganovic is looking after his tyres better, if he can get past Delano Vanthof, then there is a chance he can go after the Russian. And Beganovic has never been closer to Vanthof as they come down the straight. They're going to try and break the toe. Beganovic will have to think about this. Oh, that was late from Vanthof. So Beganovic comes right round the outside. Amazing from Dino Beganovic. Vanthof tries to move to cover. He changed directions in the last minute. No chance. Delano Vanthof cannot do anything about Dino Beganovic. That was one of the moves of the season from the Swede up into second position. My goodness. Let's have a look at that again, because Delano Vanthof almost thwarted that attack. That was split-second thinking from Dino Beganovic. I want to see this again. So, Delano Vanthof is moving to cover on the inside line. Let's look at it. Oh, well, they're not looking quite at the same bit of racetrack there, so hopefully we'll pick that up in a moment. But Dino Beganovic now into second, and he has set off after Michael Belov. See you, Delano. I'm going to go for the win. What a move from Dino. Absolutely amazing. Now, hopefully we can pick up that move again, because it was one of the overtaking moves of the season. So let's go for it. Let's have a look at that particular move again. So Delano Vanthof, look, he moves to cover at the last minute. So Dino goes, right, you're going to be cautious on the brakes. I'm going to hold the line on the outside. I'm going to be a little bit less productive on the brakes. I'm going to let the car blend out on power, tweak the throttle, hug the curb. Thank you very much. Second place. That is, without a doubt, one of the moves of the season, if not the move of the season, because that required split-second decision-making from Dino. Terrific. That is one hell of a move from the Swede. And look, he's just dropped Delano Vanthof. So Vanthof is now falling into the clutches of Arthur Leclerc. So we've got another replay, apparently, of another incident out on the circuit involving Thomas Luwadi. Let's see if we can have a look at it. So we're going to pick that up in a moment. Apparently, Thomas Luwadi has had a moment out on the circuit and spun the car in a similar incident to what we saw yesterday. So we're just working on that one. Montoya's on the move now as well. He's come up to 12th position, and his next target is going to be Isaac Hajar. So let's have a look at the replay. There's an incident elsewhere on the course. This is Luwadi trying to make his bid on Khaled Al-Kubaisi, and it was just a little bit too early on the throttle. Easily done, but that denies Thomas Luwadi a chance to go for second place in the Masters race. Khaled Al-Kubaisi has lost momentum after trying to avoid an incident earlier on in the race. Now, here we go. Look, Michael Belov is desperately trying to break the toe from Dino Beganovic. Down the back straight, and he knows that he's being hunted. What if Dino Beganovic could go from 8th position on the starting grid to take the victory in the reverse grid race? That would be absolutely fantastic from the Swede. And when it looked like it was impossible for the Mumbai Falcons to pick up a win in this one, all of a sudden, Dino Beganovic has got a different script to play out here. So he is hustling Michael Belov. Evans GP want to win their first race of the season, but Dynamite Dino has got a few tricks up his sleeve, and he's got time. This is the thing. He doesn't have to rush this. He's got 11 minutes to deal with Michael Belov. This is definitely turning into the race of the season. Belov gets a little bit wide in the hairpin. Now, Dino is going to be all over him in turn one, and he'll have the slipstream as well. Belov is struggling for tyre life. So Dino Beganovic just needs to be patient. He's got time to do this. He doesn't need to rush it at all. 10 minutes to go. He's going to have Belov in the drop. Leclerc's into third. Arthur Leclerc's already got past Delano Vanthof. And now, surely, Dino Beganovic is going to get his run on Michael Belov into turn one. Belov is going to try and hold him at bay. Oh, goodness me. Both drivers are going to get loose there. Beganovic saves it. Michael Belov was a little bit hesitant. And now they're both going to have lost ground to Arthur Leclerc, who was defending from Delano Vanthof into turn one. So Michael Belov is doing his best to hold on in front of Dino Beganovic. Arthur Leclerc is now in third place, and if these two keep squabbling, Leclerc could start to catch them himself. So behind the top four, in 5th place now is Pepe Marti. In 6th position, let's make a note of this, Lorenzo Fluscia has come up to P6 from 11th on the grid. Great work from Fluscia in this one. Then it is Chauvet. Crawford is up to 8th. Good progress from him. Then Pasma, Fornaroli, and Sebastian Montoya has come up to 11th ahead of Isaac Hajar, who is having a nightmare second race of the weekend. So, again, Dino, you do not need to rush this move. You've got 9 minutes. Just put him under pressure. Make Michael Belov make the mistake, and you will get the overtake almost without trying. So Dino Beganovic is just taking his time here. He does not need to rush this at all. Still plenty of time to go. And everywhere he puts his car, Michael Belov has to respond to it. He's the one who's got to make the mistake, not Dino. Hustling, just trying to get in his blind spot, just trying to irritate him. He needs to essentially be all over his A-game like a wasp at a picnic. He just needs to be a little bit of an irritant now. And now he's run wide. Beganovic is going to get sideways, and he's got him! What a move! Absolutely phenomenal! Beganovic round the outside again! Dino Beganovic finds the overtaking move from nowhere! That is an absolutely audacious bit of driving from Dino Beganovic. Let's have a look at it again, because that was absolutely mighty. Look, you can finally see Belov is drifted. He's drifted, but that's put Dino on the inside for the wrong apex. They're going to turn right, and somehow Beganovic just holds it round the outside. Enough! I'm going to win. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. What a move from Dino Beganovic, and that is the move that gets him into the lead. Wow. I have seen Dino Beganovic over the years. In his karting days, he was mighty. He would usually come up with a giant killing effort amongst the big teams. He was the boy wonder of the Ward Racing team, and with such a smaller budget by comparison, Dino would always challenge the top 3 with the multi-million-pound budgets to play with. Dino has been an exceptional rising star. It's no wonder that Ferrari picked him up for the Drivers' Academy. He has the potential to be the next Ronnie Peterson, and I tell you what, this boy is going places. Dino Beganovic is on the map. What an amazing move. That's stellar. You would never predict a guy to go around the outside for a big position in this race twice. And to go around the outside at turn 15 to pick up the lead on a driver as high caliber as Michael Belov. That shows you just how good Dino Beganovic is. Awesome. As Parmesh Shishan writes out on the YouTube stream, send it indeed. Oh, it's getting very tight in further back. We've got Isaac Hajar desperately trying not to lose too many places. He's got Leventa Revej and Josh Dufek for company. So they're battling away. Oh, hang on. It looks like somebody's crashed into the marker board on the way to the final turn. So not entirely sure what's happened there. And I don't see anybody who's come into the pits with damage. I certainly don't see anybody who's dropped back particularly. But certainly someone's crashed into the marker board in the final couple of corners. Now let's look back, because the top 4 looks pretty set for the moment. Delano Van Toff has drifted away from the top 3 rather sadly. Pepe Marti is still in front of Lorenzo Fluscia. Then it is Pierre-Louis Chauvet and Jack Crawford. What a comeback from the American. Pasma, Montoya is now in the points again, 10th place, ahead of Marinangeli, Isaac Hajar, and then Revej, Fornaroli and Dufek. Fornaroli has had a nightmare race. He's just dropped all the way down to 14th position. From 2nd on the grid, it's not gone well for the Italian at all. Strong in qualifying, but in the races, he just hasn't been able to string it all together. And now we're looking back at one of the pinnacles. That is the 34 car. That is the leader in the Masters race. That is Salih Yalouch, who is in front of Khaled Al-Kubaisi for a change. But let's be fair to Khaled. He has won he's won 6 of the 7 races thus far in the Masters category. Hang on, is that Leclerc in 2nd? It is. That is Artur. Oh no, sorry, I do apologise. I thought Leclerc had got through past Belov, but no, he's hunting him down. He's still got plenty of time to make the move because there's 5 minutes of the race still to go. And Leclerc is definitely putting a little bit more pace on with Belov. Oh, now that we've got a battle. That's Crawford getting side by side with Pierre-Louis Chauvet. That's tough company to be up against. But Chauvet, for the moment, has held him off. So Jack Crawford is trying to get his way past. The Red Bull youngster from the United States is trying to make this work. Dino Beganovic out in first. Oh, here we go. Paul Aron is in the wars. Oh, he's got a problem. Paul Aron drifts out wide big time. And that's going to let his teammate through. So Hamdurad Kubaisi has gone through. So that's very disappointing indeed for Paul Aron. A race that could have produced so much has fallen away to very little indeed. So Dynamite Dino leads here at Dubai in the second race of round 3, having pulled off some of the most exceptional moves of the season so far. Without a doubt, this is the drive of the year from Dino Beganovic, from 8th on the grid. If he comes through for the win this time, you'll never stop him smiling. His smile will be touching his earlobes when he gets out of the car. So this is Belov and Leclerc. Arthur Leclerc is trying to hustle Michael Belov for second position. A podium would be a fairy tale for Leclerc in and of itself, because he started back in 9th place. So here he is in 3rd, looking very strong indeed as he quests after a championship lead. And he's already built that, and now with Isaac Hajar in 12th out of the points, it is destined for Arthur Leclerc to finish in 3rd place in this race, and that would essentially take his lead in the championship up from... I'm not trying to count Sebastian Montoya here too much, because obviously Montoya is going to be in his last race of the season in race 3. So yes, he is second in the standings, but in terms of the drivers that are going to be here for a full campaign, Isaac Hajar is his closest opposition. And going into this race, he was 20 points ahead. Hajar is out of the points, and Leclerc is looking to have 15 for finishing 3rd, which will put his advantage over Isaac Hajar to a massive 35 points. That is more than a race win. So it's looking very good indeed for Arthur Leclerc to take a basically dominant lead in the championship here. This is what we were saying though, consistency is what's going to win this championship, and Arthur Leclerc has easily been the most consistent driver this season. He has not finished a race outside the top 10 this season. So Arthur Leclerc has just been banking in points whenever he can. And I've always said this, that's the mark of a top world-class racing driver. It's not what you do when you're winning, it's what you do when you're not. And he has been in the points every single race. He's not got into silly accidents with drivers. He's not played the percentages too high than he needed to. He's brought it home every time. And his points lead is a sign of his wisdom, his maturity, and his ability to deal with the situations around him. 2 minutes to go. Sebastian Montoya is going to score a point for finishing in 10th place. That's going to put him on 79 and continue his run in 2nd in the Drivers' Championship. But if Dino Beganovic takes this race win, he is going to rocket up the table to 3rd in the standings. He will be on he'll be 2nd in the standings, I apologise. He'll be up to 88 points if he wins this race, Dino Beganovic. So not only did they get a 1-2-3 finish yesterday, but if it stays like this at the end of the 8th race of the season, the 3 drivers are going to be in the top 3 positions in the Drivers' Championship. That is absolutely amazing. So through they come. And still Leclerc wants a little bit more. He doesn't have to pass Belov here, but he wants to. He's a racing driver. Belov gets a little bit twitchy. Out of turn 11. Up towards 12. And Belov still has the upper hand over Arthur Leclerc, but we know that his tyres are starting to dissipate. He couldn't keep up with Dino Beganovic, and Arthur Leclerc is just going to play the solidarity game. He doesn't have to get 2nd place, but if he can hustle Belov, if he can make the mistake arise, then that's what's going to happen. There goes Belov, a little bit deep into the hairpin. Arthur Leclerc is close enough to be a threat. Oh, and that's a spin! That's Leonardo Fornaroli. Fornaroli's gone around. Now he's off the racetrack. But if he can get the car moving, then he might just be able to avert a safety car here. We go into the last lap. There we go. Oh, that's the other high-tech. That is Josh Dufek. So we've had a spin from Fornaroli and an off from Josh Dufek. Were they racing each other? They were together on the racetrack at that point. Oh, please don't tell me the high-techs have hit each other. That would be the height of embarrassment. So we'll have to see, but certainly a big moment as the time ticks down to 0. And Dino Beganovic is about to join the winner's circle. And that would mean that the Mumbai Falcons team will be the only team this season to have every one of their drivers on the top step of the podium. What an achievement that would be when you consider how incredibly close the grid is this season. Look at the quality of the drivers that are in Abu Dhabi racing by Prema. Look at the quality that you have in High Tech. Look at the quality you have in Evans GP. Look at the quality in Pinnacle. Look at the quality in Black Arts. And Mumbai Falcons is set to be the only team this season so far to have got all three of their drivers to the top of the podium. And Leclerc isn't done yet. Arthur Leclerc's not finished yet. He still wants a little bit more, as into the pits comes Leonardo Fornaroli to retire. What a shame. He started second on the grid in this race and it hasn't quite gone his way at all. As Michael Belov tries desperately to at least grab a second place finish. That would do for him. He's fought valiantly in this one. Let's not take away from Michael Belov what he has done in this race. This is his second race back in the championship. And he hasn't raced in this paddock for 2 years. So, as much as you're going to glorify Dino, Michael Belov has driven beautifully in this race in second place to hold off Arthur Leclerc, and he can be proud of that second place. He's worked hard. But out of the final turn will come Dynamite Dino. He's come close. He's almost made it happen. Now he's going to make it happen. Dino Beganovic wins the second race of round 3 and is absolutely ecstatic. A hero's drive. What a run from the Swede. And now all three Mumbai Falcons have tasted victory in 2022. In fourth, it is going to be Delano No, it's Marty. Marty comes home fourth in the end in front of Volusia and Vantoff. So it turns out in the end that it will be Marty that comes home as the leading rookie. So Pepe Marti will once again take the rookie victory. And it will be Salih Alouch that gets his second Masters win of the season after an incident on the opening lap for Khaled Al-Kubaisi. But Dino Beganovic, Dynamite Dino, the Super Swede, is in victory lane. There is Salih Alouch. He takes the win in the Masters race. A great performance from him. But now we have 3 race winners from Mumbai Falcons. Last year we had 1 in Johan Darovala, and now this year we have not 1, not 2, but 3, and from 8th on the grid as well. Look at the party going on. I tell you what, that's the first time this season that the Mumbai Falcons have picked up 2 wins in a weekend, and this is almost more satisfying than yesterday. Yesterday they eclipsed the podium with all 3 cars, but this was different. This was Dino starting 8th. Way out of position, way out of contention. Nobody told Dino. Great result. Dino Beganovic wins from Michael Belov and Arthur Leclerc. Pepe Marti in front of Lorenzo Flusha. Dilana Vantoff and Jack Crawford from Pierre-Louis Chauvet, Patrick Pasma and Sebastian Montoya. That is your points finishers. 11th place, Pierre-Louis Chauvet was 10th in the end, I'm told. So it's Beganovic from Belov, Leclerc, Marti, Flusha and Vantoff from Crawford, Pasma, Montoya and Chauvet. Behind the point scorers, it was Nicola Marinangeli in 11th place, and then Isaac Hajar from Levente Revege, Oliver Goethe and Paul Aron. A very disappointing race from his point of view. Francesco Braschi fought his way forward. Hamder Al-Kubaisi did well in front of Owen Tangevelu, Freddie Lubin and David Morales. Amner Al-Kubaisi in 21st from Salih Alouch, the winner of the Masters race, from Khaled Al-Kubaisi and Thomas Luwedi. Ayata Iwasaki was the last one home. Leonardo Fornaroli and Josh Tufek were out of the race. Car 2 got track limits warnings in the race. Just the one, actually, Patrick Pasma. Other than that, that was a great lights to flag race. No safety cars, no major incidents, just brilliant racing. That was the race of the year. And not just because of the new race winner. Arthur Leclerc comes home in 3rd and extends his championship lead exactly the way he wanted this race to go. And he's happy with that. He looks very happy with 3rd place. Meanwhile, Dino Beganovic is still punching his fists in the air. He's been so frustrated over these first few races because he's come close to the win, but he's never actually managed it until today. And not only did he manage it, he fought for it. The Mumbai Falcons celebrate again. They're almost in a bigger party mode than yesterday. But ladies and gentlemen, at last, Dino Beganovic wins in Formula Regional Asia. Boom, bang, tidy. Magic, absolutely magic. And that was, without a doubt, the race drive of the season as well. There have been some heroic moments. Hadrian David, Sebastian Montoya, Arthur Leclerc, Gabriele Mini and Gabriel Bortoleto have won races before him. But everyone's going to remember this one. There is his mother, and she's in tears. Of course she is. The Mumbai Falcons and the Prema mechanics that work alongside them. What a performance. What an achievement. They can't help but hide the fact that they favour Dino so highly. He is such a team player. He was frustrated yesterday, even though he got a podium. He wasn't quite where he wanted to be. He clearly went to bed this morning, went to bed last night, got up this morning, had his Weetabix and said, you know what? I can win this. What a drive. What a drive. And for me, that was the drive of the season. From 8th place to 1st, with some of the most audacious overtakes you will ever see in Formula Regional Asia. Well done to Michael Belov. Let's not forget his performance. 2nd place in his 2nd race back in this paddock for 2 years. He deserves 2nd place. Jack Crawford coming up to congratulate his friend Dino Beganovic. He can't stop smiling. Dino Beganovic has a really charming smile anyway. But what a hero. Remember where you were when you saw Dino Beganovic take his first win in Formula Regional Asia, because I guarantee you it will be the first of many race wins. He is definitely Sweden's next big hope for Formula One. And I, for one, cannot wait to see him get there. Dynamite Dino indeed. Well, Ridemar is down there. She has our drivers in the podium positions, and we will hear from Dino and from Arta as well. What an absolutely fantastic battle it will be. So hopefully we will be able to get down there. There may be some sound issues, but we will try and bring you the interviews when we can. Well done to Sally Aluch, winner in the Masters race. He's done a fantastic job.
Well, thank you so much, Jake. I have with me the two very proud Mumbai Falcons. Now, especially Dino I'd like to talk to, because Dino, you didn't seem very, very happy yesterday because that victory came off that 5-second penalty to your fellow competitor. But today the victory is all yours. You came from behind, from the 8th position on the grid.
Yeah, I mean, it was an amazing race. One of the best races I've done. Good fight back, good pace. I can't thank the team enough. I mean, wasn't very happy yesterday because I knew our potential. I knew we can win races, and we're on the right step now, and I know we can do it, and let's keep pushing.
That's right. Arthur, if I speak to you about the rivalry that you had on the grid, if you could just take me through it as to what level of competition that you had to face right there.
Yeah, I mean, there is a lot of competition as we can see. I mean, the grid is really close all together, so I mean, it's cool. There is some competition. And then, yeah, I'm really happy that Dino and myself put us in the podium because we fully deserve it. I think we had a really good pace today. And yeah, it's a result of a good work we did last week and in free practice.
That's right. If you also talk about the conditions right here, Dino, I'm sure this victory was a very tough one for you. And of course, you made your team very, very proud. But if you talk about the conditions, the temperatures are making the tires being worn out faster. If you could just take me through it.
Yeah, it was in the beginning just following a bit and managing the tires. I knew the others were pushing quite hard. Also, it's really hot here today, and it was extra important.
That's right. Well, congratulations to both of you. I asked you guys yesterday, but you didn't give me an answer to that. Where is the party now?
No, we will see. I mean, we still have some work. We have the race 3, so let's focus on race 3, and then maybe we'll focus on party.
Perfect. That's how the Mumbai Falcons are getting those podiums. 1, 2, and 3 yesterday. And of course, here again, they've got 2 positions on the podium. The Mumbai Falcons are on a roll. Well, with that, we've just wrapped on race 2 of round 3, and the Mumbai Falcons have claimed domination all over this race yet again. Of course, if we speak about Dino, to start from the 8th position on the grid and coming on the 1st position was quite a journey, and I take with me to take me through.
So when you are starting back in 8th position on the race grid, you kind of have it in your head that you're not really going to get a race victory. You kind of have that psychologically in your head that you can make up a few positions, maybe you can gain some points, but essentially you're going to be in a race of consolidation. I don't think Dino really felt he was going to be in the fight for that victory until the end of lap 1, when he managed to fight his way through into 4th place. I think then he really realised, you know what, this might actually happen. This might be game on. And the whole characteristic of the race changed from that point. We were focusing so much on the guys in the top 4 or 5 at the start, but Dino was the one who's been looking after his tyres all through the weekend. He's actually been really conservative through qualifying, through practice, through the first race. He's been the one to manage his tyres. So he had a little bit more grip to play with, and he had confidence and faith in his car. Plus, he's also one of the drivers that really looks after his brakes. So he's still got a lot of strength in his car, and he's got wisdom and tenacity to know what the car can do. That's why he was able to pull off some of those incredible moves that he pulled off. I'm so surprised. I mean, I know how good he is, but even he surprised me today.
In fact, you know, we were speaking right in the morning, building up to this particular race, and we had a word with Mohit. Mohit said it seems much more tougher is because we're not in to start for the Falcons right from the position. But that's here. We've got the owner who told me that he was on fresh tyres, and that's the reason why for him to get that grip in these soaring conditions was much more better.
Well, this is where the strategy comes into play. This is where you're able to really start to see what the teams are trying to do. They've obviously got to use only these 3 sets of tyres for the whole weekend. So if you can be smart, if you can use the tyres and look after them for various points of the weekend and save a fresh set of tyres late in the weekend, then you can actually make these races come to you. And it's that smart thinking that's going to make these guys the ultimate fighters in the championship. Look at Arthur Leclerc today, 3rd position behind Belov. He didn't have to go for that position, but he felt that there was enough in the car to really push it. He's been so consistent. He's the only driver this year to finish in the points in every single race, and that's why he's leading the championship. Look at Sebastian Montoya. He had to avoid an accident at the start. He dropped out of his position, fell all the way back to 20th, and still managed to fight back to get to P10 in the points. You know, these guys have confidence now. Their first wins are off their back. They have the opportunity. They know what they're doing, and they are able to run at the front. It's a kind of a shame we're not going to get to see Sebastian throughout the whole season, but certainly for Arthur and Dino, it's game time from now on.
Absolutely, for the entire team for that matter, for Mumbai Falcons, but of course a definite praise for Michael Belov as well. He's here in the paddock after 2 years, but he makes it to the 2nd position. Congratulations to all the winners. It's time for race 3 in round 3. You stay tuned.